Let's through the global supply chain problems, which could drag on for several months as shipping companies struggle to bridge a supply-demand mismatch and counter a persistent shortage of containers. Those were the words of the head of the World Trade Organization, Nigerian-born Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, in an interview with the Financial Times. She added that trillions of dollars of pandemic-related stimulus were feeding into a surge in consumer demand, and as the festive season approached in many parts of the world, these difficulties were likely to persist. Joining me now for a chat to this how the market is taking the global supply crisis. Let me bring in Uchenna Minnis, who's the managing partner at Howard Minnis Asset Management. Great to have you on the show tonight, Uchenna.
Having me, Boason. Thank you.
Give me where are the main pressure points right now for the global supply chain disruption that suddenly from just becoming a disruption, becoming a crisis?
Well, I think it's quite clear as you put it here, right? The sudden reopening of global economies, increase in business activity, sort of just created that backlog of this in the supply chain, really, and that's what we're getting to see. The bottlenecks are really concentrated, and also we're seeing that effect in the disruption in terms of the supply chain route. However, this is started to see, you see the pressure, this is being driven, and you're seeing that in the commodity space where you can see a number of commodities, platinum, cotton, even oil. You can see the inflationary pressure, which has actually now translated into the overall headline inflation in a number of economies. And that's why you're seeing the central bank are starting to worry to say, well, maybe they don't have a transitory inflationary pressure, as they would call it, and this might be a thing that's coming to stay in the near to medium term, and they need to start to act on that. And that's what we are facing, Boason, at the moment.
But any idea how these supply disruptions should be handled and what it means for the global economies at the center of this global supply trade business?
Yeah, it's now you get that ripple effect into the overall economy, and you start to see reduction in purchasing power in the populace, really, and now you're having a serious problem in your hands where you start to have labor pressure, and you also start to have you see that effect in terms of employment. So that's what point now the central bank are looking to fight their war in a couple of fronts, and dealing with this supply side full inflationary pressure is a thing that they need to really get ahead on. If not, they might be getting to face a serious crisis. And I think the central bank would, from their monetary perspective, would look to try to hold that nip it at the board as it is, Boason.
But again, here we are with investors and traders. How are they positioning for these and other big global macro headlines right now?
Well, it's really right now. It's quite funny, but it's quite clear now that investors and market participants are really just pushing allocating funds in their portfolio into the commodity space, and as a result of this supply shock, really, and they're saying that given the fact that we are approaching this post or getting to pre-COVID levels. We will only get an improvement in economic and business activities, so the demand will only continue to go up as a result. And now you have a supply shock that you need to deal with. Then the commodity market is where you really need to hold on to, and that's what we're seeing with this value appreciation in this asset, Russell.
Well, so we're just days, a week away from the COP26 climate change summit. What's your take on the energy assets and how they've been traded right now? It looks like one of the biggest conversations on our hands right now is what do we do with this net zero emission, the whole energy transition program? Do you think it's going to keep impacting energy prices or energy asset classes down the road until COP26? Maybe we have some guidance from there, or maybe it's just going to continue after that.
Yeah, also if you start to look into this place, this aspect of the market, you realize that a number of ESG ETF funds are there now coming up. You have also some renewable ETFs that investors are really jumping in, and you see multinationals going and trying to talk about how they're looking at that net zero emission target, and on the basis of that, you can see investors are looking to allocate their portfolio towards these funds, given the fact that this might be the near future or the realized future of energy really when we're going into renewable and clean energy really. And that's what we've seen with those funds popping up and seeing allocation of funds into these spaces. So I think that's what we'll be getting to see and going forward, given the fact that a number of a number of stakeholders that are advocating for this to be climate responsible.
I know you have your eyes on the ETF that was listed for the cryptos on the New York Stock Exchange yesterday. What else is trending right now with Bitcoin around $40,000, $50,000, $60,000?
Yeah, Bitcoin is, as they say, to the moon, right? So, and that's what we're getting to see when that news hit the media wave. It was a no-brainer for the speculators to just jump in. I mean, it's like a free road for them to run on right at the moment, and that's what we're seeing with this asset. It's so volatile that I think I've mentioned to you before on your show that just any news really, if it's positive, you see that traction. If it's negative, you see the downside traction too. And that's what we'll get to see until we can get to a point where there is should I say, an understanding of what really drives this asset, like a more holistic, more tangible fundamentals that investors and market participants can hold on to. And then we will probably see a bit of stability and reduction in volatility in the digital currency Boason.
Anything for in currency play?
Right now, I think given the fact that the US dollar is a place for me to really play in. The greenback is looking really palatable now to the bullish side at the moment, given the fact that we might probably be seeing a mixture of both the physical aspect of things and the monetary aspect of things from the Federal Reserve as regards to the greenback. And when you see such supply shock we're seeing with commodities, and you know that a lot of these commodities are being settled using the greenback, it just then translates that we must get to now start to see that demand in the dollar, and that might continue to push it to the high side. And I think using the dollar as a bullish play against weaker currencies like the euro is something that we're really looking at the moment, possibly.
Uchenna Minnis, Global Market Strategist and Managing Partner at Howard Minnis Asset Management. Thank you very much for your time tonight, and see you next time.